Welcome to episode 10 of The Chase. I'm Bobby, that's Jacob.
That's me.
Just a reminder, you can find us at www.newhopelv.com. Media tab, click on podcast, you'll find us there. You can also find us on Twitter at Podcast The Chase, and then search for us on YouTube. The link for the YouTube channel you can find on our Twitter profile and the website. So Jacob, today,
Yes, sir.
we are talking about witnessing
Yes.
as Christians to the lost. So this is something that I'm not terribly experienced with myself because as
what?
mentioned before,
You're not shy?
I'm not much of a people person.
What? Are you sure?
Big surprise. So, a lot of this will be up to you. No.
Got
I'm just
you.
going to sit back and relax and let you take it.
Just throw me some questions. I got you.
Yeah. So, I did want to use the Bible as kind of a reference point for some of the things and how they go to a degree.
I got
Like,
the Great Commission up.
Yeah. So, obviously, everybody kind of knows what the Great Commission is. But go ahead.
It's just sad that I'm not very
What?
familiar with the Great Commission. So sad.
Oh,
I'm about to read it.
yeah.
For, I think, hopefully not the first time. Later he appears to 11 as they sat at the table, and he rebuked their unbelief and hardness of heart. Ouch. Because they did not believe those who have seen him after he had risen. And he said to them, "Go into the world and preach the gospel to every creature. He who believes and is baptized will be saved, but he who does not believe will be condemned. And these signs will follow those who believe. In my name they will cast out demons. They will speak with new tongues, and they will take up serpents. And if they drink anything deadly, it will by no means hurt them. They will lay hands on sick, and they will recover." That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go drink some poison real quick. I'll be right back. It says
I'm not
that I
sure.
will not be harmed. God says it, man.
I mean, yeah. Also tells us not to test it.
Yeah, I think this was involuntary drinking of poison, right?
Right. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Okay.
Involuntary.
So,
But yeah.
mind like slipping some of my drink.
For the sake of those who love you, I think I'll not do that. I mean, of course, God can save you. Absolutely, He can heal you. But
Right.
yeah.
Thank you.
So the Great Commission. And the church likes we like our fancy buzzwords. Basically, this is when Jesus, I believe, was about to leave the disciples right after he'd risen,
Mm-hmm.
and he was basically
He
telling them
appears to the two disciples after he raised from the dead. Then he goes to the disciples and he's
they
like,
didn't even recognize.
"Why do you not believe me?"
Right. So basically, he's telling his disciples,
This is right before he descends into heaven, too.
Ascends.
Ascends. He already descended. He ascended.
Right. So yeah, he basically told his disciples and us by proxy that we need to go out to people who don't know Jesus and tell them the good news. Tell them why Jesus came to the earth in the first place, and that we're to kind of go out.
I think it's interesting. It says, "Go into the world, all the world, and preach the gospel to every creature." You don't think he means like animals, or should we preach to horses and?
Not really.
Okay.
Not.
Does he mean like human creatures,
That's
created beings?
Yes. Right.
Okay, just clarify.
Yes. Created human beings.
All right.
Yeah.
If you start a church with animals only, I will be very impressed.
That would be interesting. Very interesting. I might have to be concerned too.
Yeah, for the preacher.
For the preacher. So yeah, does that mean that we go to every country we possibly can to preach the word?
It says, "Go into all the world."
Us ourselves,
Go into all the world. I think
or us as Christians?
us as Christians.
Yeah. I think there's obviously, like, you can kind of support other countries, the gospel being taken into other countries through missionaries and that type of thing, which is
Yes, definitely not for everyone.
Yeah, right. I think that it takes us.
Do not, unless you're called by the Lord,
Yes.
go into a country that needs the gospel if you're not called, because it will suck really bad.
Yeah. So, Jacob, how do you do that? I mean, how do you, for you personally at least, how do you work up the courage, or maybe it doesn't take any courage, it wouldn't be, but just to go up to somebody and start talking about Jesus and say, hey, what do you say?
Okay, well, for those who don't know me, I am probably one of the most outgoing people you ever meet, and I take pride in that. I do have my introverted times, believe it or not. That's just a side note. I'm like, humans. It's weird. I have like phases, but most of the time,
Okay.
I love being around people. Going up to talking to someone is almost like, I don't even think about it. I just
Second
do
nature?
it. I just do it.
Yeah.
It's my first nature.
No. More of a
Second nature, first nature, whatever it may be. I never understood when I was younger why I was so wanting to be around people. I wanted to be around people who are older. All these younger kids, they want to play in the playground, but I want to go talk with the people we're having a conversation. And I never understood it. And then when I got God in my life, when I started having a relationship with Him, I started to learn about His Word, and it talks so much about being fishers of men, going out in the world, and then I just realized that what God gave me, I came to that point, what God gave me, I can't keep to myself. It's like, I gotta tell people about this.
Yeah.
And if I don't, people are gonna spend forever in hell. Like, that was like a reality that became so like real to me, even more so today than ever, just as we look at the way the earth is nowadays, and it looks so much with the way the Bible describes Jesus coming back, and I have urgency, I got it. So for me, I just see someone, and the enemy is so funny because I've never had a problem, but recently I've been inviting everyone I have a conversation with to church. I just make it my goal. Like, do you have a church? You should come to mine. That's my goal.
Yeah.
But I've been having a really hard time with that. But I just had to remind myself of the cost, like, man, how much Jesus did for me, and how much, it's like if I had a cure for cancer and I kept it to myself.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I view it. It's just like, I have to keep a reminder of my urgency. But for me, what I do is I go, and not weirdly like, hi, I'm Jacob, want to come to church?
Right.
I don't just like, hi, welcome to church, welcome to Chili's.
That puts
Yeah.
put off
Well,
some people.
but for real, I just like go up and I'm just like, just start to talk to him, just like, hey Bobby, how's it going, man? How's your family? I know it sounds weird, but I really pay attention to people details. Like, if I find out they have family and their kids, or if I found out they did something that weekend, I'll bring it up. Like, hey, how's your wife? I hear she's pregnant. Is she doing good? I know it's hard on a woman. How are your boys? Just for example, just throwing some stuff out there. And then be like, hey man, do you go to church anywhere? Like, no. Most of the time, people, even though they do go to church, doesn't mean they're saved. Like,
Right.
do you go to church? You can normally tell if someone is in a relationship with the Lord, and that really is where, like, so how long have you been a Christian? There's just so many ways, but I think the best way that I could sum this all up, all that I've been saying, my rambling, is that you just gotta do it. There's never gonna be a good time. There's never gonna be a right time. There's never gonna be a time when that person is like, oh, it looks like they're doing nothing, especially if you're at work. Don't do that. Don't do what I'm telling you if it's going to get you in trouble if you're sitting around talking. But for me,
Right.
there comes times where I'm allowed to do that at my job. Just have a conversation with someone as long as I get back to my work. But I just had to convince myself. I always would talk myself out of it. Like, oh, they're busy, look like they're doing something. And most of the time, they're honestly looking for someone to have a conversation with them because they'd much rather have that than do what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah, I find that I think it's something funny I learned. Is you just gotta do it. Stop telling yourself you're not gonna do it. That's with anything in life. Just do it. If you want to see results for your body, I feel like I'm getting out of shape, just go work out. Don't ask for accountability because they can only be accountable for what you're actually gonna do. So go and do it. And then if it comes to struggle down the road, then ask someone, hey, I've been doing this, like I'm a real, like, my wife tells me, you're really hot or cold. Like, I'll be like 100% in, and then like a day later, I'll be like, man, this is rough. I don't want to do it no more. But I've been trying to stay more consistent, like with ministry especially. You have to be consistent.
Yeah.
But for people, you just gotta go. You just gotta do it. It says, with being fishers of men. And it says, Jesus walking by the sea of Galilee, it's a fun word, saw two brothers, Simon called Peter and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And they immediately left their nets and followed him. And I love that. And it's like, the word immediately is like all sideways and nice, because they want you to pay attention to it. They immediately left their nets. They didn't like, well, I gotta go call my mom and tell her that I'm moving or I'm doing something different. I gotta go make someone who replaces me and does my job. He just, all right,
Yeah.
let's go, let's do this. And that's kind of my rule of thumb. Immediate. This is perfect. Okay, so I had a Pastor Josh Hackworth at he's our college director. He said, partial obedience is full disobedience.
Ooh.
Partial obedience is full disobedience.
Nice.
And so immediate and full obedience is what God wants. He doesn't want, okay, I'll talk to them, and you have a conversation with them, but you don't bring up church or the Lord, or I'm going to do it tomorrow, because you say you're going to do it, but you don't.
Interesting. Yeah. Man, that's good. That brings to mind an example of somebody that Jesus said to, I think he told him to come follow him, and he was like, no, let me bury my dad
the
first.
prince?
No,
Oh, okay.
the guy that needed to bury his
Oh,
dad
yeah,
first,
yeah.
and then, but Jesus told him, let the dead bury their dead. Come follow me.
Yeah.
I can't remember if the guy actually did it or not. Maybe he didn't say, I don't know. But yeah, anyways. But one thing I wanted to go back to real quick is that you mentioned that you kind of establish a rapport with the person. So do you think that's necessary, or do you think it's important to kind of have kind of this base relationship with somebody
Yeah,
to go into that?
I mean, there's certain circumstances where you don't need to establish a relationship to trust someone, like your doctor. Your doctor is going to want all the facts, but most importantly, you trust that doctor is going to do their job. And I think the way Jesus was, he was so relational, and he was so calm and gentle, and he just was so personable. Like the lady at the well, like he sat and he talked to her before he started to tell her about her life and what could change.
Oh, yeah.
She just was like, I know.
Just check your mic. See if
I
it's
think
still
his mic
on.
died.
I think it did too.
Oh, it did. It was blinking earlier.
I mean, it's back on now.
It's not blinking no more. It was. I probably should have mentioned that.
Shoot.
Okay.
All right. I'll splice this out.
Okay. Yeah, you're just gonna hear my voice slowly. Probably be like I'm answering questions that aren't being asked. All right. Talking about relationships,
Relationships, yeah, in
establishing
order to-
that. You want to ask that question again?
Yeah, so, okay. So is establishing a rapport important to kind of witnessing to people? Rapport.
That's a nice
big
word.
word.
I like it.
Building those relationships first.
Yeah. I think for me, at work, people know who I am. They know that I love the Lord. I make it obvious because just the way I live, I decide to live differently. Like I do things differently. So I act differently. When people normally get angry, I try to stay calm. And people notice that, and I think that's one of the gateways of establishing that of relationship is being a reliable person, being a person that. But I think, if I just came up to you randomly without no prior knowledge, if anyone did that to me, I'm ready to like fight or flight, martial arts, take you down.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you want? It's
Right.
like, are you here to harm me or whatever? But I've slowly learned to lose that because being a Christian, you're called to be a peaceful person, and
Yeah.
even if someone beats you up so well. There's a verse I read recently. It's like, if come to steal your coat, give them your shirt also. It's just like be so peaceful. It's like, oh, you're stealing my jacket? Here, do you need it? You come need my shirt? You're like,
If somebody wants you to walk with them 1 mile, you go to.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's important to establish something of like that you're not being religious, that you do genuinely care about that person. Because I mean, the Pharisees were probably really good at promoting church, inviting people to church. They knew the law inside and out, but very rarely, I'm sure, did they have a sense of like, all these people that love the Lord, that say they love the Lord, care about me. Because that's what really people want. People want people that will care about them and care about what they're going through. Like, if I never showed that I cared, but I only cared about inviting them to church, but then they go through something, I wouldn't have any grounds to be there for them, because they'd be like, you only care if I come to your church.
Yeah.
You know, you don't care if I'm actually hurting right now.
Right. That makes sense. And kind of one of the things that I've learned that kind of parallels this is that as a writer and as, trying to build an online presence, specifically Twitter, you can't just promote your work. I'm good. Sorry.
It's a wild mic.
You can't just promote your work and then like expect people to flock to it. Like, you have to be online. You have to have a presence so that people know that you're a human and that your work and pushing your own thing is not the only thing you care about. So I mean, I could see how that parallels with witnessing to people. Like, they have to know that you're a person, that there's more to you than just. I don't want to say more to you than just pushing God, because that's a big part of it. I mean, that's a big part of getting to know people as a Christian, is to lead them to God. Showing people that you're a human and that you care about them and that you.
That's what Jesus did.
Yeah, you show them the love of God without just trying to push seemingly your own agenda.
It's almost as frustrating as walking into a church that's all about money.
Oh,
You walk in. We have 3 offerings through our service, and you can tithe twice. We don't turn it away, and and people feel like, wow, I want to be here to get fed, but I feel like if I don't participate, my bank account is going to be emptied, and if I do participate, I'm going to lose my bank account. If not, I'm going to be shunned and looked at differently.
Right.
And it's a huge turnoff for people wanting to come to church.
Yeah. So one interesting kind of thing that I remembered when kind of thinking about this subject was that when Jesus, let's see, Jesus sends out the 12.
Yes, in pairs.
Yeah. Yes. So that's in Matthew 10:14. So. So this is kind of, what happens if, the message is rejected, which obviously is going to happen. And it's great that Jesus kind of prepared us for this. So.
Matthew 10.
10:14.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
And whoever will not receive you nor hear your words, when you depart from the house or city, shake off the dust from your feet. Assuredly I say to you, it will be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. Did I read the right one?
Yeah. So basically, I kind of see that as, if somebody rejects the message that you're bringing to them,
That's on them.
It's on them.
That's their loss.
Just quote unquote, shake off the dust from your feet and
Water on the dust back.
Yeah, move on to business. So, a lot of I could see a lot of people taking it to heart. Really getting upset about it. Maybe
I've had doors slammed in my face before, like going door to door, like, do you know about Jesus? Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Have a good day. God bless.
Just shrug and
Yeah,
walk
walk
out.
on to the next house. I think it's important to know too, like, if someone doesn't want to hear it, there's always someone that does, as a counter, like a seesaw. Like you go
Yeah.
up and you come down, you go up and you come down. So
Yeah.
for every door you get slammed in your face, there's going to be a door that's wide open that wants to hear, who's eager to hear.
Yeah.
People are hungry. I have a question. You being introverted, you say it's a little harder, you have to muster up a lot of courage to go and talk to someone. What would you say is some things you've learned as an introvert that would help other introverted people build up that courage, steps or things that you've done that help you witness to others?
Oh boy.
I mean, one, you're here on a microphone, that's a pretty good accomplishment for an
Yeah, well,
introvert.
yeah, I like to think so.
Yeah.
Not too bad. Oh man, when it's face to face, I found that when somebody's really dealing with something difficult, that's when it's easier to kind of step in and be like, talk. And it's not like this should be any different from your everyday, but talk like God's a natural part of your life.
Yeah.
I find myself so often just kind of stilted whenever I'm talking about God, but I realize that it's got to be this natural part because God
Yeah.
is a natural part of my life.
And if he's not, you gotta fix
We got
something.
a problem,
Yeah.
Right. And so that's part of it. I think finding a key talking point is important for somebody that's kind of
Something to
silent.
relate to.
Right. Because I've had somebody at a previous job that kind of asked me why I believe in God. And, it was a subject that kind of he brought up because he had been Mormon in the past. And so, he's kind of had a background of some type of religious
Yeah.
stuff.
A little bit of knowledge.
Right. And so for the longest time, I've thought about how, what makes me believe in God? When did I make that choice for myself? Because, you grow up in a household that believes in God, and you have parents that believe in God and teach you that. At some point, you have to make that decision for yourself.
Yeah, it's gotta be you.
Yeah. And so that led me to think, well, how do I know that God's real? How can I tell somebody that God's real? And this is how I know how. And the thing for me was that I see the person that I would be without God. And that's kind of what I went into. I was like, well, people can argue just about anything concerning the Bible. They can argue anything about God. But something they can never, ever argue with is how you've been changed by God, by God's power.
Yeah, no one can ever argue against your own personal experience.
Right. And I see the person that I would be without God, and I know that I'm not that person because of God.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was kind of my key talking point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so cool that God gives us such a weapon, and that's our story.
Mm-hmm.
He equips us with something that's it's not like someone who makes up a far-fetched story. That's something you don't have to believe. Especially if it's just someone like my fish was this big,
Right.
But with God, it's all boils down to our personal experience that we have in Him.
Yeah, for sure. Any final thoughts, points? All right. We went through some technical difficulties on this episode, so God's got it. We do what we're supposed to do. Man.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, that's
when
right.
things go wrong.
That's right. All right. This is it for the chase. Till next time, chase God and chase His word.
Woo woo!